What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be doing a jump animation. I went over to YouTube, typed in how to do a jump, and come to see it, there's not really a good how to do jump, or at least there's one that's not recent and they're all really old. Okay, so I wanted to make a video for you guys on how to do a jump. Before we get started, guys, I just want to point out the Mecha Mech rig, okay, the Dash rig. I'll leave a link in the comment. This version is paid. There is a free version that does not have all the face controls, but I think this one comes in a whole pack of like 10, 20 bucks. It's a really good buy. I recommend it. It's really awesome. So go check it out on the link I provided in the description. Also, I want to say, guys, thank you for all your support. Please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Give this video a like if you already like what you're seeing here. We're going to learn how to do it. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Please share this as much as you can so we can help the channel grow and keep going with this awesome community. Thanks, guys. So let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial. I usually start out with my first pose just so we can move this along really quicker, because finding your first pose and getting the character from T into first pose can take a little bit of a time. So I'll go ahead and let you guys just pause the video here and get this kind of a pose if you're following along exactly. Okay, so here's our first pose. So in a jump animation, okay, I'll go ahead and let's look at our reference real quick. The reference we are going with today is this guy, and he's just jumping in place. I'll make sure and leave this reference in the description as well, so you guys can go check out this reference. It's a really great reference, and it's the only reference I could really find for a jump animation. Okay, so he's going to go down, jump up, and go back down. So we're going to do an idle pose. We're going to go down, anticipation for the jump, jump up, and then up in the air, fall down, land, and yeah, that fun stuff, right? So there's the anticipation right there. Something that I want to point out, okay, with this video, we're not going to be following this video along exactly, okay? I want to make it a little more stylized, a little more character. I don't want to have the hands all the way back or whatever, right? I want to do more of like a game animation jump, okay? And that's what we're focusing on today. Jump up here, curls his feet up and then comes back down for the jump and lands. Something I want to point out that I always do in my videos when I landed, that nice fun little body bounce, okay? Right at the end there, boom, bouncy, bouncy. Okay, we'll also be doing that. An infamous body bounce that I always mention in all my videos. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this animation. All right, so we have our idle pose here. Okay, go ahead and gonna make sure I'm in stepped and clamp mode, just so that nothing gets squirrely. Make sure we are step and clamp. So set a key pose here. Now let's go down into our jump. Okay, and this is exactly how I block out every single jump animation that I do. You'll notice on this first frame I have him over onto his right hip. Okay, he's going to come down and he's going to even out his weight. As he evens out his weight and all that stuff, his shoulders are going to come up, his hands are going to come up into that anticipation pose. So in the reference, the character is throwing his hands back behind him. Okay, the important thing that I want to point out here to get it to be like a game loop and a more of a cartoony jump, or more of a jump that we can use, is the most important part, I think, is the hands coming up into some kind of position and the shoulders coming up. Okay, the shoulders have to come up to, like, they're kind of like getting the body ready to go, and then when they jump, they're gonna come down. Okay. In that reference video, his arms stay upward, but we don't want to do that. We're going to build that upward momentum as he comes up. We want to make it more of a little bit more stylized, cartoony kind of an animation, right? So he's going to jump up, his hands are going to come down, and then at the top of the arc, they're going to come back up, okay? So we're going to bend down. We are going to pull his eyes down here like this. Want him to look forward, and then on the jump, he's going to look down. We're not going to build the hand in poses. We're not going to go super in detail with the hands or anything. This is just an animation to show you guys how to do like a jump, and mostly with the body. We're not going to do any hand stuff on this video. Okay? Goes down like this. Maybe those shoulders are a little too high, kind of breaking the model a little bit. Let's bring them in. These shoulders don't really rotate. They don't rotate. They go up and down. Okay. These are more up and down shoulders. Okay. So he's going like this. This is his anticipation pose. Arms coming up, shoulders coming up. Maybe bring him down just a little farther, like this. He's going to come into a forward C. Okay, make sure that you also push his hips down. Okay, you're not going to do this. He's going to do this kind of a thing and bend down with his body as well. Come down, jump up like this. Going to build in this jump. Now, he's going to jump up. This is exactly how I build in my jumping poses, okay? I put the feet on the ball of the feet, okay? Like this. On both the feet. I don't build in that offset yet of like one foot leaving the ground first and then the other leaving after. I build that in at the end of my, or like, not at the end, but like when I hit my spline and when I've worked a lot of the other things out, that's when I like go in and I make sure that one foot is hitting the ground before the other, as you learn in animation school and a lot of in like animation tutorials, right? One foot is going to leave the ground first before the other. I'm gonna build in that downward arm and hand pose where the arms are gonna come down as he's jumping up. Okay. For a game animation loop, okay, we don't want I should just say in general, you don't want the head to like be like super wobbly. I see a lot of that. It's like the character will go down and then they'll jump and then their head like like animators will do like a really big overlap or like an overlap on the head. We don't want to build that in. The head is going to stay. The head is still like heavy, but it still is attached to the body, and we want to make sure that like it's not too loosey-goosey because the head, you know, we don't want to break our character's neck, right? Comes down like this and goes into the jump up. Maybe we can bring these arms down just a little bit more, just like this. And I want to have him looking down. Okay, there's going to be a little bit of overlap in there, but not a whole ton of overlap that I see a lot in jump animations. Down. If you ever come to an instance where you accidentally go to the next frame and you add a frame in there or like a keyframe in there, you don't want it in there, that's okay. Just copy and paste that frame here. This is our final frame. Press S, select all your controls, press S, locks down that whole keyframe, right? And then copy and paste to the frame before it. So it goes back to the frame you want. Again, copy and paste is middle mouse, click, and drag. Over here, middle mouse, click, and drag to the frame you want, and press S. Okay? Or you can copy here and paste here. Just like this. Okay? So, we're going to keep going. I'm going to build in I'm going to make the arms come down just a little bit more, a little bit straighter. Just like that. Maybe I want to build in just a little bit of overlap on the hands as they come in. Now I'm going to take this, both the feet and the body, pull it up. I'm going to get rid of that ball roll and point the feet downwards, and I'm going to pull them in. Okay? When somebody is jumping, their feet are planted where they are at, but when they jump, their feet come in, and then as they come in, they start to go out in the air and separate back to their like almost original pose that they were in before they started the jump. Okay, and then they come back down. These hands can go in like this. Oops. This rig doesn't have that functionality where they're opposite, where they can go like this at the same time if you select them. Like this. Okay, this is his upward momentum pose. So, and then on the next one, the blocking on this is really fast. There's not a whole ton of poses with my way of animating, okay? You're gonna grab the body, you're gonna grab the feet, pull them up just a little bit more. He's not jumping super high. So he's gonna have his stretched out pose like this, and then he's gonna come up a little bit more. And we're gonna pull his feet up now. Just like this. Looks like I need to grab his knee controls as well as he goes up in the air. He is going to go here. His feet are going to start coming out like this. Remember not to get any twinning. Try not to get any twinning. Just like this. And then he's going to start to bring his hands up here. Just like in the reference, I think the guy's hands are up in the air the whole time. Pardon me. I think the guy's hands are up in the air the whole time. But we don't want to do that. We want to do kind of more a stylized game animation, right? Where his hands come down. You see lots of fun movement on the hands as they go down on the jump and then come up at the top of the jump. We're going to move his shoulders up a bit to show forward like progression, right? I've mentioned that in my other videos, is forward progression. Trying not to twin the hands. You notice that both hands are not up at the same height. One hand is like kind of in a different like angle. The other hand is down farther, right? And you want to try and keep that in your mind. Is don't have things twin. Okay. Let's make sure this ankle isn't broken so we can, we just don't want the ankles broken. Pull that over like this. Same thing here. We don't want the broken ankle. Maybe these are pointed too far up. Okay. Pull this one down a little bit farther so they're not a little too close to twinning. Let's pull the knees in. Now that I'm looking at it, I kind of want to pull those in just a little bit. Point them down a little farther, just like that. He's up in the air. Woo! And now, honestly, like we've already built in a lot of our poses at the beginning, okay? And we can honestly copy and paste those poses on the way back down. We've already got those poses. Why not copy and paste them and then just change the arm poses and everything, and change the feet, right? We've already got those poses, that stretched out pose, because they're going to go up, they're going to stretch back, they're going to stretch back out as they go down, okay, and then land. And I honestly have my jump, and this is exactly how I do all of my jumps. And I just copy poses. The thing that I do differently is now that I've got those poses in there, I just change the like the arm poses, and like they're up in the air now, just like this, and they're coming back down. And then I change the feet as well, so they're pointing upward like this. We can pull them out just a bit so they're not like pointing straight in. And then maybe bring them down a bit. Again, you don't want the feet to twin. So let's make those poses a bit different. These feet are twinning a bit. Want to try and get away from that. All right. So, we're just working out our jump cycle here. Jumps, walks, runs, and jumps are probably the biggest animations you're going to do in the industry. So it's pivotal and important to get good at those animations. It's probably like the 3 animations you will do the most in the industry is a walk, run, and jump. Nope. This pose is going down. Let's get rid of that. Just delete that. We've already built it right here. We can delete that. Make sure we bring the shoulders upward, just like this. Bring the shoulders back down on the landing and the hands. Maybe it doesn't lean forward so far. It's like this. And of course, right at the end, like I do with all of my stuff, is once we've gone back to idle, I go ahead and add a couple of poses, 2, 3 poses, because I know I'm going to add in a body bounce and a settle. So we want to just build that in right now. And the cool thing is we have our jump cycle, right? We have our guy jumping up and then going back down landing. But I just realized I need to change a few things here. Get rid of that ball roll. Point his feet up. Have him land. Maybe those are a little too pointed. Land, boom, on the ground, back up. All right. We have our guy jumping. So let's go ahead and quickly time him out. So I typically go down at about 4 frames, hold that bottom for about 3 frames, okay, to anticipate, then jump up. And these are not like rules or anything. You can do your own, but that's typically what I tend to do. This timing is typically what I tend to do on my jumps. Okay, it's not like a one-size-fits-all. You have to like feel how the character feels, like see how the character feels when they're doing this. But this is just a generic like base time frame of like the timing you can give your characters. Bend down at about 3-4 frames. I'd say 4 frames. Anticipate for about 3 frames. Then go up in 3 frames. Go up in the air in maybe 2 frames. And then ease into that up in the air pose. Hold that up in the air pose for a little bit, and then start coming back down. Ease into that back down. Land in about 2 frames. 3-4 frames here. And then you're going to get your settle, and you're going to really, slow down into that settle. All right. Here we have our timed out jump animation. Right? We want to see how it's feeling. It's kind of feeling a little bit slow on the way back down. Right? And it's because of those 2 right there. Like, from here to here, it's kind of a big gap. So we want to make that gap smaller just to speed up that down. It's feeling a little bit better. We'll have to see how it feels in spline, and then the same thing with the up, right? Get up a little bit faster, holds in the air a little bit longer. There we go. That feels a little bit better. Okay. Now let's go ahead and make sure that we have a key on every single control. So the way we do that is we select all the controls. Sometimes if it's I think it's more of a recent thing, or that I've found with rigs, is this control set. And what that is it's a set with all the controls in it. And you just go to the outliner, and then you can right click on the set and go to select set members. And that will select literally every single control in your rig. Okay, if the rig has it. A lot of rigs don't have it, and I wish they did. Like every rig that I found that doesn't have it, I'm really sad that it doesn't, because there are a ton of, like, when you do an IK-FK switch, there's tons of controls that are not just always on in this, like when you're animating, okay? Anyway, so with the Mecha Mech rigs, they have this control set. We're going to set a key on every control, on every frame, okay? That is >sign S, okay? On every single one, >sign S. I do this in every single one of my videos. This is exactly how I animate. This makes it so there is a key on every single control on every single keyframe, okay? All right. So now that we have that all done, we are going to, and we already looked, let's just like verify again that this is exactly what we want to do for our jump cycle. The timing feels good, so I am going to go ahead and spline now. Go into spline, press the destroy button, and see how my animation looks. Maybe like garbage, maybe not. We'll see. Pretty poopy, right? Pretty garbagey. But that's okay. We're going to work through it right now. First thing that I always like to do is check my timing. Okay, if my timing's feeling good, then I move on to the next step. But I think my timing is not feeling quite like I want it to. I feel like this is a little slow still, and I kind of want it to be faster. So I'm going to get rid of that frame right there. And I think that is feeling like I want it to. The fall is faster, okay? So I am going to go ahead. Now, my next step that I'm going to do in my workflow is I'm going to look for all those points with the, like when I hit a pose and it's just sitting there, I'm going to now create a living pose, okay? Or, you know, kind of ease into that. And all I really need to do for that is he comes down into the anticipation pose and just sitting here for all these 3 frames, right? I'm just going to go ahead and pull him down a little bit farther to keep that progressive movement, okay? I also have him on this hip, on his right hip. So I want him to start going down on this right hip still, and then as he eases into that left hip. And we can go ahead and push this just a little bit farther, like this. That way his hips are also easing into that anticipation pose. Jumps up. Next spot we have that as a plateau in our graph editor and in this animation right here is this jump up. He jumps up, hits this pose, and stays there. We want to ease into that and keep the progression going. Keep a living pose, right? We're going to pull that up. Jumps up, lives in that pose for a bit, and then comes back down. Let's see how that's feeling for us. I don't like how much. I want it to go farther up. So just a little bit more, ease into that just a little bit more, then comes back down. I am noticing that I wanted to ease into the down a little bit more. This is a big kind of jump for the spacing in here is a little big on easing into this. So I want to ease into it more. So I'm going to select all the controls here and I'm going to add an in-between. He's going to, in fact, let me press S, okay, because I like this pose here, but I want to ease into that more. So I'm going to press S and then add a keyframe, and that's going to ease into that a little bit more. Now we've got our jump feeling better. Okay, it's still feeling pretty stiff, but that's feeling pretty stiff because we're not easing in with all the body parts. We're just easing in with the core, okay? And we're not showing progression with anything else on the rig, and that's then my next step after getting rid of all those flat plateau movements. Okay, I'll go in and I'll start adding in the ease in of all the other things. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in on that. Jump in, right? Anyway, one other thing, right? I hit this. One other thing that I need to fix, right, on the core is this body bounce at the very end, because he kind of just comes up and then just stays there, right? And that doesn't look fun at all. There's that nice body bounce in the reference that we need to build in there. So I build all of my body bounces in the graph editor because the graph editor is great for it. I don't want to have to build in that by myself. It's going to look a little weird, and I let the graph editor just handle that for me. So on the Y, he's going to come up more, okay? And then he's going to come down. I want to get rid of this keyframe because when I go like this and I pull this down, it's now holding that there. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, so he eases in. He does a little body bounce, and I might want. This feels like a really slow body bounce for the jump. The body doesn't go up and down that slow, so I want to have this happen a little faster. So I'm going to have him go back up, and he's going to extend this, and then he's going to come back down. But I want this to happen faster too, because that happens really slowly, right? So I'm going to go ahead and press S again on here. Got to make sure I'm not in clamped and stepped anymore. I'm going to press S here and pull that up. I still want it to ease in, right? But I want that overshoot to happen right here. And maybe we can pull it over just a bit more. and pull this up so it doesn't go down as far. But it's not going to be like a spring. It's not going to be boing, yoing, 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 right? It's going to go. The legs still have tension on them. They're still legs, right? So they're going to come down. It's going to have a body bounce, and then the legs are going to catch the character. It's not just going to be like a spring or like a bouncing ball, right? It's going to come up. There's muscles in the legs. There's going to be a bounce there, and then the legs are going to catch the body and be done bouncing. Okay. Real quick, I want to apologize for any screaming or anything you hear in the background. It's summertime. The kids are crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on in my house. I have 4 kids. Just wanted to say that real quick. All right. So with this, let's get rid of that little blocky. With this, I'll notice that his legs, they kind of really overextend. And there's one of 2 things I can do. I can either pull this key pose down right here so it doesn't extend quite so much for so long, pop for so long. That feels a little bit natural and better. Maybe I can make this just a little bit less, but I'm still going to get that pop. The other thing I can do that, like, happens more so when somebody's taking a step, I can do just a little tiny roll of the feet. I want to do this separately so I can control the roll. Do a little bit roll of the feet, okay, with that body bounce. On our reference, you will notice that like the feet will come up, the heels will come up on but mostly like if a person is bouncing, they land, they bounce, and they take a little step forward, their heels are going to come up too, and they're going to take that step forward, right? We can build it in that way too on our jump, okay? It's feeling so much better. And we just added that body bounce, right? And it feels so much better even. So the thing I want to show is, next thing I want to do is build in that progression on the other body parts. So I'm going to pull this in, okay? The legs are going to come in on the jump like this, and then I want them to ease outward. So I'm going to pull it in right here like this, pull them down so they can have upward progression, and then I'm going to rotate them down as well so that they can rotation progression as well. Oh, that feels so much better, right? Oh man, look at that. That feels so much better than what we had before. Same thing with the hands. We're going to bring them in. Oop, this arm is not playing nice with us, so let's go ahead and bring it in like this. Pull it back here. I want to pull this hand in, rotate it down, rotate this down, pull it in, so it can have progression, okay? Just like that. And then as it comes down, like, look how much better that looks just because we added that progression in there. It has progression. Now you're creating more of a living pose with that, okay? We built that in there. I really like how it's coming. I notice the feet as they come down really slowly. They don't really slap down. They come down really slowly. So I'm going to go ahead and have those feet slap down. After they make contact, they're going to slap down. Just like that. Oh, that landing feels so much better, and we barely did anything. Another thing that I want to do, I added that body bounce in, okay? But I want to make it so the character doesn't land on the same hip that they took off the ground with, okay? So that they can come into that resting pose on the hip that they are resting on, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this over, and he's going to come over to the other side. The body's going to make like a circle, okay? He's going to land on this side, come up, overshoot to this side, and then come back and make like this little circles, or circle, right? And this is our X, so we're gonna overshoot that like this, and then we're gonna overshoot to the other side as well, and then ease into that settle. I want, it's not feeling quite right, so what I want to do, it's not quite a circle. He's kind of going down and then diagonally up. We need him to stay down longer so it can go like this. We can either build that in or we can use the graph editor. I would like to use the graph editor. We can pull this down here, okay? So now, maybe he comes over to this side just a little too far. So we can pull that up so it creates more of a circle. Let's see. Maybe we do want to build that in. Let's go ahead and build that in there like this. So he comes over to this side like this. And then he comes back to this side sooner. There we go. And maybe we can ease into this final pose instead of having it so... there we go. Now he's having this fun, nice little like circle on the body. Okay, so then we are gonna come down. Now we built in our core. We've got our like moving holds going, right? And now we want to build a little bit more like sweetness with the arms and the hands and the shoulders and everything. So we have to worry about our core. Okay, so our core, our chest, as we jump up and come down, it's going to compress. Like it's not just rotating. Okay, it's not just rotating. Our body stretches out and compresses, right? And maybe not as much as like animation shows. But we need to push that. We're pushing reality, right? To kind of push animation. So we can have the body, the chest coming down like this. And this is more of a stylized animation approach. And that's what I like to do. I do like more of a stylized animation approach, okay? Body's gonna... It's going to squish back up at the top here, and then as he goes down, it's going to stretch out. The chest is going to stretch out like this. Pull it up even further. And then as he comes down, right here on this overlap, we can do one of two things. We can build in the overlap, or we can do the graph editor. Let's try and see what the graph editor gives us if we build in that overlap. Let's see what's happening here real quick on this little exchange here. This feels weird that it's coming down to this key pose here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. The chest stretches out. Not a whole ton. I'm not bringing it like crazy stretching out. Just a little bit. And then he lands. Now we want to build in a downward squashing pose, right? And then pull it up to drag behind so it stretches upward. And then it's going to stretch back downward, and then it's going to ease in at the very end. Kind of like we already did with our body, right? Just like this. But we want that to like overlap, right? We want it to overlap and like squash down and overlap from our rotation. So we're going to grab all of these first ones, not the end one. We would like to have the settles feeling, okay? And we're going to pull all of them over one. What that is going to do is it's going to make it so the translation is coming before, the downward translation is coming before the downward rotation. And we haven't added any like overlap downward overlap on that overlap rotation. And we can do that right now. I don't like how it's like coming back up so fast, so I'm going to pull this up so there's a little bit more downward, like the downward rotation is delayed. We can pull this up as well so that when he's coming down, it has a little bit of an overlap. We want to pull this farther so it overlaps downward and it comes down before it comes to the settling pose. There's a lot of frames in here, so what I usually do when I see a lot of frames in here and it seems like the body's doing the same thing is I'll press S here, and then get rid of this middle pose. That didn't do anything. It didn't break anything. So that means that it didn't need to be in there. I want to grab this and rotate it this way so I can have that overlap. And then I like this overlap pose here after he starts coming back up. Okay? It snaps down. Let's get rid of this. Snaps down. I like this overlapping pose here. So I'm going to rotate it down. All right. Now, so if we look at that, it's feeling really good, right? The chest is compressing downward. It's rotating upward. I feel like it's coming over too fast. Or at least this pose right here is not over enough this way. And it's coming over kind of fast. Just right here, it comes down and then it goes over really fast. So let's pull it over like this. And we're still going to get that circle. Ah, there we go. Feels a lot better. And as I'm looking at this, I kind of want to bring the feet up a little bit higher as they're progressing upwards. So I'm just going to grab this here, push that, and then I'm going to grab all the upward momentum of my feet, and I'm going to pull them upward like this. And that'll bring my feet higher and feel just a little bit better on those feet. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to like the shoulders, okay? I've got my core, secondary core, and now my part of the secondary core or third core is the shoulders, okay? Now I'm going to build in the shoulders. Something that I can just do to add a little bit of life to this already is I can go ahead and I can pull those frames back, okay, to overlap the shoulders. Just pull one frame back. That'll automatically add life to this whole thing. So on the way down, his shoulders are going to come up like this. Keep them in the up position. He's falling still. And then drag this behind even more. Offset that even more. And then pull the shoulders up here because he's coming back up and they're going to drag behind. Maybe we can pull these back just by one frame. Pull them down. Maybe this is a little too far. Maybe come down just a little far. So let's pull them back up. So now we're going to add in those hands for the overlap. We don't want the arms to pop like this, so let's pull them up just a bit. We got the up and down overlap now, but we want to make these little circles with the arms still. Okay? So we're going to have them stay out here. Okay? Then they're still outward like this, but as they come in, we want them to come inward. And we're going to build the rotation in after. They're going to come out this way now. And then inward again. They're making nice little circles. All right, now I want to build in that rotation overlap, okay? They're going to rotate out, okay, just like this, coming in. Overlaps this way because it's coming out, so we're going to overlap in. We want to overlap out again. See how nice that feels. Then just very subtly overlap in again before it comes to the resting pose. Okay? See how nice that feels? It's just a nice little subtle overlap. I am noticing though that the hands are coming down a little bit too like slowly. Kind of want to maybe make it so those are just a little faster. So let's go ahead and get rid of a couple of frames here. There we go. The arms are looking just a little bit stiff, so we're going to bring the elbows in. Let's build in that, bring that elbow in on this side as well. Pull that arm up so it's not stretching anymore. Pull that elbow in because the shoulder is leading the motion and the elbow is leading the hand. So then the elbows are going to come out. We're going to set, we like where our elbows are at right here. His arms are a little straight down, but I think it's working okay for the purposes of this animation. Because we're going to offset them. They're a little bit twinning right now, but we're going to offset them in just a bit. So the elbows are going to come in like this. Let's go ahead and pull those arms upward. Make sure they're not overstretching. Come down. Pull them up here. Pull them up here. Pull them in these areas as well. All right, there we go. That's feeling a lot better and not so straight and stiff, right? But we still want to make them a little bit more loose. The shoulders are going to lead the entire action, everything with the hands, right? And the arms. And so the hands are coming out like this. We're going to leave that outward motion with the elbows, bring them out. And then since the arm is coming back inward, we need to leave that inward motion with the elbows. Okay. Same thing with the other side. There's a little pop right here in this arm. We can get rid of that by pulling that up just a bit. Okay, let's go ahead and build that leading action with this elbow. It comes in here like this, comes back outward, then comes back inward like this. Maybe this elbow comes out a little too far. So let's bring this back inward. That feels a lot better. Okay. And maybe this elbow as well over here feels a little bit too noodly. So let's pull it out as well. Okay. Now to change things up, okay, to like make it so it doesn't feel so twinned, right? Because right now it's kind of they're overlapping both at the same time, and it's like they're kind of twinning right now. So let's get rid of that. Okay, we want to make it so as they come down, they're not twinning anymore because throughout this whole last part they're twinning like a lot. This one is dragging upward behind more, and so I'm gonna have this one drag behind. Okay, this one's upward and kind of, let's see. Let's grab this one because it's kind of like up higher than the other one, which indicates that it's kind of dragging behind a little bit more. So let's push that and have it keep dragging as it's coming down. So all we need to do is we need to grab all those keys and then pull them over like that. Oh man, see that? We already built in all, and maybe we need to fix a couple of things, right, on the back end here of the animation. But man, that feels so much better than it had, right? It's just got this nice, like, maybe we can pull it, maybe it just delays one frame. I think the biggest hurdle we need to get over is that shoulder. Comes up. Maybe we want the shoulder to keep the timing it has. It's still a little bit close in timing. So let's go ahead and grab our hand keys and pull them behind. Ah, there we go. It's feeling a lot better. Still a little too close for comfort. Let's go a little bit farther. One more frame farther. I like that. Let's pull this hand up. Oh, I was on the shoulder the whole time. Let's go to that hand. Pull the hand. We did the work in the shoulder. Now we can do the work in the hand. Ah, yeah. There we go, guys. Now that's feeling a lot better with those arms. Now the arms aren't twinning, right? So let's go ahead and make it so those feet don't leave the ground at the same time. So on this one, we can make it so the ball happens after. The ball doesn't happen. Let's make it so the ball doesn't have, the heels don't start coming off the ground until the frame later. So that's when they start coming off the ground. And this one can actually, so they're not twinning, we can do this just like that. And then this foot here, maybe it's still not rolled so much. And then the way we can make this like not so twin still is we can pull this foot downward, right? And that and then get rid of the roll on here. And those two things and pulling this foot up, and that makes it so the foot doesn't feel like they do make it. One is still contacted down toward the ground and technically still contacted almost, while the other one's up in the air now. And that's almost enough. That's like pretty much enough of a change in like, so they're not landing the same, like coming off the ground at the same time. And the same thing here. So we can pull, so one foot lands later than the other. We can pull this back one just like that. Move this knee over. We want to pull this foot farther down because we do want it to like clearly land before the other foot. But this foot needs to land before the body lands, right? It needs to have an outstretched pose. So we can go like this. We can stretch out the pose like this. And then snap it down. You need to get an outstretched pose on this leg for it to feel like a better jump. Okay? Let's grab this right arm and have it come before. We want to lead the action with the elbow and the shoulder. So let's go ahead and go like this. Pull that elbow in. Just like this here. Pull this up. Comes in just like that. But we want to overlap the hand here. Pull, so rotate it upward. All right, guys. I think that we have a nice little jump here. This mid body is feeling just a little stiff. I want to pull this hips up, okay, just to get a little squash out of the hips, a little more fun out of the hips. There we go. So we have a jump cycle. It really only takes about like 7 frames or so, you know, to get the whole like jump working. You have the idle pose, anticipation pose up, jump up in the air pose, then reverse that and go back down and change your like arms and stuff like that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I have my Discord channel, Discord server, the Animation Help, where you can come by, leave your shots. I leave feedback, animation feedback daily on your shots. Also, I have other videos on my YouTube channel. Please go check those out. Give this video a share if you enjoyed the video, if you want to see more of these videos. I appreciate that. Like and subscribe, do all that cool stuff. Share my videos everywhere, wherever you can. Let's keep building this community, keep building this channel. You're awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. Happy animating.